Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special little dollop for you.
That somebody left a turd on the bathroom floor.
And it's going to be good because this is all about our epic movie characters fighting each other bracket. It has now been whittled, pun intended, down to supposed to be the final 4, but I have news for you guys. It's actually the final 5. Which doesn't make any sense.
Some contention.
We have a tie in our midst. And so the goal is I'm going to reveal the winners, those who are in the final 4. We're going to talk about it a little bit. And then everybody that's watching this, listening to this, we're going to have the matchups up this week so that you can vote on who wins the championship, the overall champion. And then we will reveal that on Monday's podcast. So are you guys ready?
Ready. Let's do it.
Do you guys, before we get into this, do you have any like favorites that you're like, this person better have made it to the final 4, just so we can go ahead and get that disappointment ready?
I think the only one that I was really like stuck, actually no, 2. I think Gandalf for sure. And then Scarlet Witch. Just because if she didn't beat Superman, I'm gonna punch something.
Yeah, I think just if Superman makes it to the final 4, I'm gonna throw my dog off the bed next time.
There's a lot of Superman hate going on right now.
If who? Sorry, Mark, I missed that.
Superman. If Superman makes
the final 4. Okay.
I think that's just my one hang up here.
Okay. Well, if that isn't the case, we may ask for you to throw a dog off the bed anyway. That'd be funny.
Okay.
Okay, so we had our Hunt Brothers region, and so we've got Mark here, my brother, Hunt Brothers. Ryan's here. I'm Jeff, and Grant and Josh are off doing serious things tonight.
Better things to do with their time.
I know.
We can talk about notional fights between fictional characters.
I rushed my kid to sleep for this.
That's right. I'm not eating dinner for this. So
yeah, there we go.
Our Hunt Brothers region, it was epic, but the Elite 8 came down to John Wick versus Yoda. And we had the voters vote today, and the winner, by a slim margin, was Yoda.
Only a slim margin? Like, don't get me wrong, John Wick is cool, but I feel like Yoda.
I don't know. I'm kind of surprised. I'm kind of surprised by this, just because this matchup did come down to voting, and I was thinking along of a recency bias. Who's in your head? And with the new John Wick movie coming out, just kind of figure he's at the forefront of people's minds. So I'm a little surprised, but not totally. Yoda is
maybe that's why it was so
character,
close.
So yeah,
but nostalgia won out.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's true.
I'm just envisioning.
Yoda, so.
I'm envisioning a battle between Yoda and John Wick. That would make for good cinema.
I'd like to see John Wick with a lightsaber. I feel like that'd be cool.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
And Yoda with all the weaponry of John Wick.
Yeah. Yoda just decked out with a bunch of pistols and shotguns.
Well, it would be interesting to see how upset Yoda would get if someone killed his dog. So,
ooh, or if someone killed what I think is his son, Grogu. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
All right, so Yoda is the first in our final 4. Who will he be facing? Well, that is going to come out of our dad joke region. And so the last 4 in our dad joke region, a part of the Sweet 16, was Harry Potter and Captain Marvel and Grogu and Jason Bourne. Well, the Elite 8 came down to, surprise, Jason Bourne versus Captain Marvel. I was a little surprised that Grogu didn't make it because he was kind of the fan favorite, but came down to Jason Bourne and Captain Marvel. And today a winner was decided by a pretty healthy margin, and that was Jason Bourne.
Beating Captain Marvel.
Beat Captain Marvel.
Wow. Okay. Oh, some crazies in here.
He finds a way.
I'm a little disappointed we don't get the Yoda versus Grogu eventually, but I can't complain about Jason Bourne beating Captain Marvel.
I do love some Jason Bourne. He's like the original John Wick, but not as decked out and not with a full armory behind him.
I'm just thinking Jason Bourne plainly won because he's so smart. I mean, he's just like 8 steps ahead of everybody.
Yep. He's like Batman. How he uses guns.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised Captain Marvel made it that far because I've heard a lot of negative things about Captain Marvel, to be honest. So
she did beat Harry Potter to make it. And Jason Bourne beat Grogu, which just sounds really sad. It's like he's beating up a child. Even though Grogu's like 50. But
if
it is
Caitlin were here, she'd be throwing a fit about Harry Potter. So.
Well, it is interesting that John Wick could not take Yoda, but Jason Bourne clearly
could take Captain Marvel and Grogu.
But
I wonder if he...
Go for it.
I was just going to say, I wonder if he somehow rigged Grogu's little bed pod thing into a bomb that he used against Captain Marvel. He's always doing crazy stuff like that.
Salvage the scraps from the Grogu fight to beat Captain Marvel.
I'm just thinking Captain Marvel had to have left Jason Bourne for dead and just said, he's done, and cockily walked away. And Jason Bourne just...
I will say, if we're talking about movie Captain Marvel here, that's pretty spot on.
Oh yeah, she was just like, "Oh, I'm good." She walks off, but she didn't realize that this is Jason Bourne, not Jude Law, and he is much more sophisticated than that. All right, so Yoda will be taking on Jason Bourne. So Bourne is taking on all the Yodas.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and this is going to get wild.
He's trying to wipe out the whole bloodline.
Yeah, into race.
Yep. We'll see about that.
Yeah.
So our Whittle region really was interesting. It had the matchup that I know both you guys are very excited to hear about. Superman versus Scarlet Witch and Darth Vader versus Voldemort. Now, Darth Vader crushed Voldemort yesterday. It was 91% to 9%. There was no surprise there. Superman and Scarlet Witch was very close. For most of the day, it was right at 50-50. But I'm here to say that Superman did not win, and Scarlet Witch advanced. So she took on Darth Vader. And let's just say
I'm throwing
Darth
the dog in celebration.
But let's just say Darth Vader may not by bloodline be her father, but he is definitely her daddy because he took her to school and whipped her today. So Darth Vader advances. How do you guys feel about that?
I mean, I'm not the happiest about that, but since this is based on voting, it makes sense because people love Darth Vader. But if this wasn't based on voting, Scarlet Witch would have wiped the floor with most people. So
yeah,
it wouldn't have.
She could have handled Thanos, I think, if she really had a grasp on her power. So, if we're talking about power in the movies, then I don't think Darth Vader would advance. But with voting, I can definitely see it.
Yeah, because they're both at the end of the day kind of angsty. Because Anakin is an angsty kid for a lot of the Star Wars saga. So I'm thinking both of them kind of fight emotionally. And I don't know. Emotion versus emotion. I think that'd be explosive. But we'll see.
Be pretty interesting.
My dog is very upset that she doesn't know why I threw her off the bed, so now she's trying to creep back in here.
Like Scarlet Witch.
So, Scarlet Witch not advancing means that we do not have a female character in our final four. And so that's a little bit of a spoiler because the last bracket, I'm just going to tell you, it's going to come down to 2 males. I really thought we'd have a female, possibly a female winner. I was surprised Wonder
expecting
Woman.
Captain Marvel and Scarlet Witch to be in the final four, but I guess I see Jason Bourne beating that out. So,
well, it fits very well with our demographics on Spotify. As I look at those, we can see the amount of males versus females that listen to our podcast, and it's like 90% male. So maybe there's a little bias here.
There's a lot of testosterone moving around.
Yeah.
But I will say, I can see the voters on the Instagram stories as well. And I also put this on my Run Instagram yesterday. And there were a lot of female voters in this. And the female voters, I guess, thought the male characters would win out too. Who knows? But no disrespect, because there were some pretty awesome female characters. And I really thought one of them at least would make it, if not multiple.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Nala's, I know, is offended.
Yeah. I think more so by the bed incident. I don't think she cares about the tournament. She's like, why would you do that to me, Dad?
Well, in our final region, the Dollop region, which is the name of this little ditty, a little dollop. It came down to 2 guys, and it was a tie today. So how we're going to settle that tie is there are 3 of us, and so it's going to be an uneven amount. So somebody is going to win. But let me tell you the matchups that got us here. So in the Dollop region, we had Thanos versus Neo, so another Keanu Reeves character. And we had Luke Skywalker versus Gandalf. Well, Gandalf crushed Luke Skywalker yesterday. I mean, it was... I was surprised by the big margin. So Gandalf advanced to the Elite 8. And then by a narrow margin, Thanos beat Neo. So Keanu Reeves completely out of this tournament. He can go back to being a really nice Canadian.
Yeah. Wait, he's Canadian? That's the first time I learned that.
Maybe I'm happy he's out of the tournament now.
It's very educational. But that means there's a tie right now between Thanos and Gandalf. It's at 50% in the voting today.
Wow.
And I really thought that wouldn't be the case, but just so you guys know that I'm not lying, I got it right here. 50% is the matchup. So we get to decide who the final piece of the final 4 is going to be. So who you got? You got Thanos or Gandalf?
Goss.
Just had to plug that.
Is Gandalf passing gas on Thanos? That factors in. I know that our Instagram and social followers and listeners have been just voting on who they like the best, but I'm going to vote on who I actually think would win in a fight between the 2. I think so. You look at both of them. I think much like Thanos winning in the first Avengers Infinity War movie and then losing in the follow-up, I think he would beat Gandalf the Grey, and then Gandalf would come back as Gandalf the White and stomp him.
So he kind of pulls like a Thor move.
Oh, yeah. And he comes back even stronger.
And chops off his head.
I would love to see that. Gandalf with a giant axe.
All right, Mark, what do you think?
This one for me, it's a close one. If we're voting on like, I'm definitely voting for Gandalf. Gandalf is amazing, but just think Thanos with the Infinity Stones. He'd just find a way. I don't know which one would come into play more, the Time Stone winding something back, and the Power Stone, the Reality Stone, changing Gandalf's reality or something. I don't know. I think he'd get his advantage with the Infinity Stones, even though it would be very close. It would be very close, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny, the thought that a lot of people put into this, because I actually got some direct messages from people specifically on Thanos asking me, is it Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet or without the Infinity Gauntlet? And my answer was just kind of like, hey, whatever you want to give him. If you want to give him the Infinity Gauntlet,
tier,
great.
Every
if not,
character.
Yeah. I mean, they are really putting some thought into this, which is awesome, and I'm very thankful for that. So I decided to put a little thought into this too. I had a little bit of a head start on you guys because I looked this up before we jumped on, but I was trying to really wrap my head around, because it's been a while since I've read the Lord of the Rings books. Read them, probably a couple decades ago, seen all the movies a million times. And I was like, I'm trying to remember how Gandalf's powers were described. And one thing that I found is that Gandalf has sort of this extensive knowledge of almost everything, but also was reminded that he's actually forbidden to use his powers to directly influence events in Middle Earth. So if this fight is happening in Middle Earth, I think you definitely got to give Thanos the edge, because Gandalf can't even use his full powers. But it also made me think, I don't know if we've actually seen Gandalf's full range of power ever displayed. So who's to say that he couldn't beat Thanos, Infinity Gauntlet or not? So for me, it just came down to, I just like this sound. Well, I'm picking Gandalf.
Oh yeah.
All right, so I guess Gandalf wins by default, but that was good. I'm glad we had a split vote. It made it more interesting.
Oh yeah.
If all of us just would have picked one, then
I think the fact that Gandalf really fights without using his powers the entirety of the Lord of the Rings, I mean, that kind of shows how much more awesome he is.
Yeah,
you put his powers on top of that and go to town.
So what's interesting is no superhero character is in the final four. So the whole superhero region, I mean, you would think a superhero's got to make it in, but no Marvel, no DC in the final four. We have 2 Star Wars. We have 1 from the nerd category. And then we have 1 from the people that are hard to kill category in Jason Bourne. So Yoda versus Jason Bourne and Darth Vader versus Gandalf. So now that we know those matchups, real quick, who's your favorite to go to the final and then take it all? Who you got, Mark?
Ooh, that's a tough one, but it mostly because I do think these are probably the 2 strongest left, but also I would love to see this fight as Yoda versus Gandalf. That would be just epic. 2 old wizards, basically.
Yeah.
That was a space wizard and a fantasy wizard. Or medieval wizard, whatever he is.
I'm assuming it's going to be neutral floor, so no Middle Earth or no forget the planet Yoda lives on.
They're just going to be fighting on a Super Smash Brothers arena.
Dagobah, yeah. Yeah. Pokemon Stadium.
Yeah.
I like that. Yes, this will take place in a Pokemon Stadium.
Middle of the match, a Pokeball falls down, you get to throw it
out. But ultimately, if it came down to those 2, I think that Yoda would probably pull it off. But I think it would be a great, entertaining battle to watch for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, really, it would be an interesting matchup. All of them would be interesting. You have 2 Star Wars characters. If you had Jason Bourne versus Darth Vader, I mean, 2 sort of like just bad mamma jammas going at it. I mean, you take the wise old wizards, and then you just got these 2 like angry dudes fighting each other. That'd be interesting too. But yeah, Ryan, who do you think's going to take it?
I think I got to stick with old Gandalf. I think he's definitely the favorite. One, because I'm a little biased because I do love Lord of the Rings more than most other things that I'm also nerdy about. But also, Gandalf, if we're talking about him using the full scope of his power, and that's pretty it's a lot. So I don't think even Yoda could stand up to that.
But well, yes. I'll say this: Lord of the Rings is getting a Magic the Gathering crossover this summer.
I'm very excited for that,
and
I can get the
I am as well. And Star Wars doesn't have that yet, so
it's true.
It's true, but maybe it's coming.
It could be. I mean, they're doing everything crossing over right now. They did, Dungeons and Dragons, and
yeah,
got some Godzilla crossover. Now some Lord of the Rings.
You know, I'm thinking that Josh and Grant are going to be really mad that they missed this very nerdy conversation we're having right now.
I mean,
this is the tip of the iceberg. I could go for hours.
Yeah, it's not even close.
Yeah, so I think a Yoda Gandalf championship would be very interesting as well. I didn't think about it. 2 wizards definitely would be funny. I think if I'm trying to go with what the people will say, I think they're going to go fan favorites, and I think Yoda is just a fan favorite, and I think people are going to pick him over Jason Bourne. Gandalf and Vader, to me, that one's going to be hard because I think a lot of people like Vader equally as well.
I think that'll be a toss-up.
So just to be different, I'm going to say I think Vader is going to topple him based on the fan vote, and we're going to have an all Star Wars final, Yoda versus Vader, which will be really interesting.
Or Jason Bourne wipes out the entire Yoda clan.
That's true. Yeah. Maybe we need to remind the people, hey, he beat Grogu. So
yeah, it's true.
He may already know how to dominate this species.
He found a weakness.
Right.
Yep, I'll have to find something else to throw Nala off of if Jason Bourne wins.
I mean, I honestly wouldn't be surprised after watching all the Bourne movies. I mean, he just finds a way. Just finds a way.
That's true. And he just wants to be left alone. So
yeah,
depends on how much
he doesn't even want to fight Yoda.
His opponent is bothering him.
Yeah,
Yoda in Empire Strikes Back also wants to be left alone.
That's true.
Yeah, maybe they'll end up running off together and just living alone.
Yeah,
they just go share a hut on Dagobah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. They don't bother each other except every day or two they'll come out and fish together for about an hour. But other than that, they just keep to themselves.
Sounds like a great TV show. Maybe
because we teased the Grogu Jason Bourne buddy cop movie. Maybe the part 2 is Jason Bourne with Yoda.
Yep.
But they're homicide detectives.
There's just Miami Vice with Jason Bourne and Yoda.
But Yoda smokes a cigar like Columbo.
This is all gold.
I would like that. Even if it had more of a Brooklyn Nine-Nine vibe. that would be really entertaining.
Yes. Maybe all 4 of them in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Gandalf is the... chief or captain.
That would be great. As long as we get another scene where suspects are singing in sync.
Definitely. Well, you guys have told us who you think is going to win. Now it's time for everyone else to tell us who they think is going to win in our crazy little tournament. Thank you for just indulging us, and hopefully this is going to be fun. We'll reveal the winner on Monday night during the actual, or on Monday morning, when the actual NCAA championship is occurring. So stay tuned to find out. But we want to encourage you, besides voting for epic movie characters fighting each other, there are other ways that you can interact. Obviously, you can go back and listen to all the podcasts, but also jump on and get a t-shirt. And I just want to throw another plug in for our t-shirts. Yes, they're cool Dude Facts t-shirts, but the proceeds for that, we decided as a podcast, we wanted to do some good with those proceeds and, do some ministry at the end of the day with it and serve people. So we are going to be working through World Vision and using those proceeds to fight the fight to get clean water to places that need clean drinking water. And one of those ways is raising money to build a well. So as you are buying t-shirts, know your proceeds are going to be going towards that. And we'll keep you posted on if and when we're able to get to that point where we're able to buy the well. But regardless, it will be going toward clean water efforts. And we're very excited about that. So if anything, even if you don't want a shirt, you can essentially donate, get a shirt, and do some good by giving towards World Vision. So stay tuned for that. Just wanted to plug that. Anything else that I left out in this little crazy tournament we're doing? I take that as a no.
Go Gandalf.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Go Gandalf. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. We hope that you had a lot of fun just hearing us break this down. And we'll see you on the next Dude Facts podcast. Yep. Bye.
Okay.